All right, another walk and talk, huffing and puffing. We're about to hit an incline right here, so this is, you're going to hear it. I wanted to talk about something that led from the previous video. I was like, I'll talk about in that video. I was like, no, this is a good enough topic. It's going to be a little niche, but Star Trek. I grew up with Star Trek. I did not watch the original series at all. I have now, because that's Michelle's favorite show of all time. So for years and years and years, she would leave that on while she was sleeping. That's like her comfort food. You know, people sometimes sleep to certain things. Like I sleep to the sound of rain, or I'll leave a fan on, white noise. But she likes the Star Trek William Shatner original series. So I've watched it. It's corny as hell. Pretty progressive for its time. Crazy that they had the first ever interracial kiss on there. Aurora, I think I'm probably saying it wrong. She always says I say it wrong. And Kirk kiss. That's the first time that ever happened. It's pretty cool. Progressive. Oh my God, libtards. But I wanted to ask you guys, what's your history with Star Trek? Did you watch any of them growing up? Do you still watch any of them? I grew up specifically with The Next Generation, Jean-Luc Picard of the SS Enterprise. I grew up with that. We had, I think it was on Sundays. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that was its traditional slot. We had family night. So, for the 20-something weeks where Star Trek was on, the family would go get dinner, and we would all sit down and watch it together. And we didn't do that all the time. I can only think of really Star Trek, and that's it. And I have a really fond memory of us sitting down, my brother, me, my mom and dad, and we're eating, we're grubbing. And it was the episode where it's a cliffhanger, probably the most famous cliffhanger in Star Trek history, but it's the cliffhanger where Jean-Luc Picard becomes a Borg, and the Enterprise sees him on the screen all Borged out. It was jarring. And he basically just says, "You will be assimilated." And you hear Riker goes right in his face, and he goes, all right, he's like, "Enterprise, open fire." Bum, bum, bum. It was one of the best cliffhangers of all time. And then they just come back, and then they solve it immediately, and it's no big deal. But it's a great cliffhanger. So I love Next Generation. I think that is easily the best one. I'm going to go out on a limb here. I think some people that are Trekkies are going to disagree with me. One, I just started getting into Deep Space Nine. I avoided that show as a kid. I didn't like the concept of them just being on a space station, not exploring. So, to be fair, I definitely skipped that one. But it's pretty good. I like it. I can see why a lot of people enjoy Deep Space Nine. And the connections to Next Gen is crazy. They have Jean-Luc Picard on there. They've had Q on there. Like, they've definitely had a lot of characters from Next Gen. So it's almost like a continuation, which I quite enjoy. But I haven't seen a ton of it, so I can't, go too in depth. But controversial take. My favorite show is Next Gen. That's not controversial. But my second favorite is Star Trek Voyager. I am a huge fan of that show. I actually just went through and watched pretty much the entire series again, because Michelle started having that one on at night while she's sleeping. So I was able to watch it, while I'm working and whatnot. It's so good. The concept of Voyager is awesome. They basically come across like a god being who's dying. And he inadvertently teleports them to the other side of the of the known universe. So it's unexplored by humans. We're not out there. And they've got to get back home. And I think originally it's going to take them, it's almost going to take them a full lifetime to get back. So, doom and gloom. Of course, though, by the end, they make it back pretty quick. But it's just such a great concept. It's awesome. I think Captain Janeway, I can't remember the actress's name, iconic. I think she had a nice mix of what also made Picard great. When she needs to be stern, militaristic she is. When, she needs to be personable and charming, she is. It's something that Kirk always lacked. Kirk was just always charming, always trying to fuck everything that moves. Someone would die, and he'd be sad for like 2 seconds, and he wouldn't care. But Janeway and Picard, are fantastic as captains. Just the perfect mix. And then I will say a shout out to, I believe it's Enterprise with Scott Bakula. That one's all right. I don't love it, but I remember watching it. It was on UPN back in the day. UPN. I liked it enough. I couldn't tell you much about it though, but the premise of that one was it's the first ship. It's the very first one. So we're babies, we're toddlers, and every threat they face just destroys them. But of course, they make it out at the end. It was all right. My third favorite is, I had to look it up real quick, not Discovery. I have not seen that one. I've heard it's terrible, so I avoided it. The one that I love is Star Trek Strange New Worlds. I think it's so good. I feel like it, unlike a lot of the newer stuff, captures the essence of what makes Star Trek so fun. I love the gimmick that the captain knows he is going to not die, but be horrifically handicapped soon, or in the near future. I think he's got like 10 years before it happens, and he chooses to continue being a captain knowing his fate is sealed, and and I hope that they don't change that, by the way. I hope that happens, because that's what makes the show so much better, is he knows he's screwed, but he's still going to do the right thing, and he's not going to let time ultimately dictate what he does. He's still going to live his life. And just that actor, I loved him on a show that I think a lot of people should watch if they haven't. One of my favorite Westerns of all time, Hell on Wheels. He's got a really strange name. He also plays Black Bolt in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. But he's great. He's awesome. What an awesome actor. I can't recommend Hell on Wheels enough. Yeah, I really like that. It's just good overall. I think they're through 2 seasons. I've enjoyed both 2 seasons. A couple of episodes, but that's okay. It is Star Trek, so like they're standalone. A lot of them are just old Western style spaghetti westerns where not everything connects to the main plot. And then to finish this off, the last one that I was willingly forced to watch was Picard. I watched all 3 seasons. Man, that show is what a drag. It's so bad. The 3rd season, I'll give it credit. It was at least entertaining because they brought back all of the next-gen people, and, they didn't lose a beat. They were all just fantastic. Oh, man, I hated the first 2 seasons, though. Michelle loves that show, though, so as a good boyfriend does, I decided to watch it. It's so bad. I hate how it depicts the Federation as, kind of evil. And I get it. They're trying to make a play on, government and capitalism and, how ultimate power corrupts ultimately. But I hate that. One thing I loved about Next Gen in particular, Voyager also continued the tradition, was that in the future, we gave up all that garbage. It wasn't about self progress by screwing other people over. Money just doesn't exist in that culture anymore. The human race is, all gotten behind the idea that it's about growth, not just for human beings, but self-growth. Everybody is working on being a better person, and we've left behind the need to just money. And Picard just brings that right back. No, it's all about money. Federation, they're evil. Many of them are in there. I just didn't like that at all. I thought Picard sucked. Again, season 3 is fine, but yeah, I'm curious what you guys would rank the shows. Again, I'll go Next Gen, Voyager, and then Strange New Worlds as my top 3. And yeah, let me know. Love your faces, everybody. See you soon. Bye.
Wreckless Eating! Wreckless Eating!